Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continue reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text 37. In my Bhagavad-Gita, which practically everybody has the same, it's page 183. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhri Enam Iha Vairinam. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esa Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Ihe Vairinam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esa Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Iha Vairinam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esa Krodha Esha Guna Samudbhava Somebody else? Mataji's? Kama Esa Krodha Esha Word for word meaning. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The personality of Godhead said, Kama, lust, Esha, this, Krodha, wrath, Esha, this, Rajaguna, the mode of passion, Samudbhava, born of, Mahaashana, all devouring, Mahapapma, greatly sinful, Vaidhi, no, Enam, this, Iha, in the material world, Vairinam, greatest enemy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world." Everybody, all please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world." Purport: when a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association with a mode of passion. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust, as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity, and it is lust only which induces the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. Wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These modes exhibit themselves as wrath and other corollaries. If therefore the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into the mode of ignorance, is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expanded himself into many for his ever-increasing spiritual bliss, and the living entities are parts and parcels of this spiritual bliss. They also have partial independence, but by misuse of their independence, when the service attitude is transformed into the propensity for sense enjoyment, they come under the sway of lust. This material creation is created by the Lord to give facility to the conditioned souls to fulfill these lustful propensities. And when completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entities begin to inquire about their real position. This inquiry is the beginning of the Vedanta Sutras, wherein it is said, "Atato Brahma Jignasa." One should inquire into the Supreme, and the Supreme is defined in Srimad Bhagavatam as Janmadhi Ashayataha Nyayat Itaratascha, or the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the origin of lust is also in the Supreme. If therefore lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Ram, exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord. Here also, in Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord induces Arjuna to engage his wrath upon his enemies for the satisfaction of the Lord. Therefore, lust and wrath, when they are employed in Krishna consciousness, become our friends instead of our enemies. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport. On chapter 3, text 37, Karma Yoga, Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanan Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinavando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vishavano Sute Deve Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripashindubhya evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Iha Vairinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world." When you are in a place very new to you, very dangerous place, especially because you don't know what you're expecting to, one should know what are the things that can help you to get out of that place, or also one should know the things that keeps you from being in that place for a long time and not able to get out. It is said that originally we are in this spiritual world, and somehow or other we wanted to be happy separate from Krishna. We want to enjoy like Krishna without Krishna. And that is not possible in this spiritual world, because Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. So therefore, the material world is created for the benefit of those who wants to enjoy separate from Krishna, but at the same time, they're not be able to also fully experience real happiness that like of Krishna. So in the original sense, it says that we're all pure. We're always also pure, but right now we're covered up because having come in contact with the material energy. So when the living entities come in contact with the material energy, they come in contact with these different modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. And therefore, our original loving, dormant, our dormant love for Krishna has been transferred into just wanted to satisfy our senses. So this greatest enemy is being described here. It's like, as we mentioned earlier, if you're in a foreign land, you don't know who's your friend and who's your enemy. So one must be very, very vigilant. The ill fortune of those who are in the material world is being in bondage through what you call lust. Is a bondage. It doesn't free us. This lust is a propensity to enjoy separate from Krishna. So ultimately, lust is a reflection of our love for Krishna. But it is transferred pervertedly to the material energy. And therefore, the resultant action is that we get karma. Because everything that we wanted to enjoy for our own self ultimately will result for suffering. It's just the law of nature. You want to enjoy, you have to suffer. Spiritually is different. You want to enjoy, first you have to suffer. Right? You have to sacrifice first. Because the propensity to love is always there. Either to love Maya or to love Krishna. But that love for Maya is not really love. That love for Maya means lust, which is the result of our continuously being bound in this material world. In the Manusmriti, it says that in a fire, you can put as much petrol as much as possible. There is no end into it. It'll just increase more and more and more the fire. So similarly, the more we want to enjoy the material world, the more we increase our suffering. There is no end to suffering. And the foolish living entity thinking that, yes, I would like to enjoy more and more and more. But the result is you're not really enjoying more and more and more. In the process of wanting to enjoy, there is more suffering. There is more suffering. More planning, more frustration, more suffering, then a little bit of enjoyment. That is, says that the highest material pleasure that one can have is in the material world is sex. Hmm? The attraction between a boy and a girl is natural. The attraction of the boy to the girl is natural, and the attraction of the girl to the boy is natural. But then, after they become together, they're still not satisfied. They will want one more wife or one more husband, or they will want to secretly have more lovers. And in the end, they suffer more. That ultimately they will kill each other. They will kill whoever goes in between them, and ultimately they will kill the loved ones, so-called loved ones. And after killing the so-called loved ones, they will kill also themselves. So, what is the result of that so-called enjoyment? Wanted to enjoy? Suffering. It's not really enjoying. It says that this sex desire or attraction towards the opposite sex keeps us shackled in the material world. These lusty desires. Lusty desires, it came from an old English to enjoy, or from, I was looking in the dictionary also, Dutch lust or German lust, L-U-S-T, lust. To enjoy more and more. So, the more we want to enjoy more and more in this material world, then the more we get into shackle. Just like those people, prisoners who are in the prison house, they are behind bars. They have bars. You cannot get out. They have heavily locked up. That is the result of their propensity to enjoy sinfully. The one acts sinfully out of ignorance. So one's ignorance is not an excuse in the eyes of the law to say that, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I'm doing. No, you have to know. You're a human form of life. The cats and dogs, they may not knowing what they're doing, which is right or wrong, but the human form of life, you cannot say, I don't know. So it is very important to cultivate knowledge, spiritual knowledge, in order to get out of this material world. So that's why it says here, Atato Brahma Jignasa. One has to inquire. One has to inquire about one's position, constitutional position. And what is our constitutional position? Our constitutional position is that we are always a servant. There will never come a time that we will become master. We're always servant. No one in this material world can say that he is not a servant. Even the Prime Minister of India, he is a servant of the people of India. Unfortunately, others are servants of their senses. Not just others. Many people, they don't know that they become servants of their senses, they're servants of their mind. So the sitting place of lust and anger, it says here, wrath. Wrath is a higher level of anger. Anger, how do you know if a person is in angry mood? facial expression, the eyebrows, very much crooked. The eyes are like burning red, right? Shouting. Having these two fists like this. This is in wrath, in anger. One who's in wrath, he will do anything and everything. It says, Prabhupada says that one becomes angry because he cannot obtain what he wants. It's like a child. A child who wants something, a child will first cry, crocodile tears, right? And then if the child not able to still get what he wants, then he will start pulling the dhoti or sari of the parents. And if the parents are still ignoring, then the baby or the child will start to cry that the whole town will be able to hear. And still, if the parents are not giving what the child wants, then the child will bang his head until it bleeds. He'll bang his head on the floor or anywhere he finds something which is very solid, very hard. So, the person who is so much addicted to sense enjoyment, if he's not able to fulfill his desires, then he can do anything and everything. And everything actually, the sitting place of this lust, anger and greed, madness, illusion, hatred, jealousy, envy, the sitting place is the mind. Sitting place is the mind. Mind, it says that it can be our worst enemy or our best friend. So one may say, well, if this lust comes from Krishna, because everything comes from him, right? Then why is it that he's not giving us all of these facilities? That if we want to increase more and more of our lust, then why we have to suffer? This came from Krishna, so why does he have to do all of these things? The argument can be also compared to this, just like the prisoners. If they can blame the warden as the source of all the sinful activities that they perform, that's why they're being shackled, then this is the fault of the warden. Of course, this is not the fault of the warden. It's not the fault of Krishna. That's why Krishna is so complete. Everything is there. We have this freedom. We have this what he called minute freedom. The freedom that the material energy is given to us, this is indirectly coming from Krishna himself, can bring us into liberation from the cycle of repeated birth and death, or it can entangle us more and more and more in this material world. So ultimately, Prabhupada says, the only way how to get rid of lust, the only way how to get rid of this attraction towards the opposite sex, is to become Krishna conscious. There is no other way. All the possible ways that one can think of, one will always fail. Doesn't matter how much austerities one may perform. It's like in the Kumbh Mela right now, what's going on. We've seen so many yogis there. They're performing so much austerities in the middle of hot, sunny day. without any clothes, and they would still have so many hot coals, burning wood around them, so it'll increase more the temperature, maybe 3 times, 4 times more, to kill all of their desires, to kill all of their anarthas. Is that possible? This is the problem here. These anarthas can only be wiped away only by the process of bhakti. No other processes, no austerities. Just like in the month of Magh also, there is a Kumbh Mela during the month of Magh that is in Allahabad during. So the yogis also, they will submerge themselves in a very cold. During that month, I remember, he cannot stay longer than 2-3 minutes in the water. It's really cold. But some yogis, they also like merge themselves up to this much, up to their neck, up to the water, and thinking that by this austerity, by this sacrifice, all of my material desires will disappear, will go away. So for the devotees who are practicing, in the beginning, not just only in the beginning, in the middle, and up till the end, one must always be very, very careful. Don't think that these anarthas are already uprooted. Not until you go back home, back to bed. Because these anarthas, as soon as you think, oh, I'm already free from anarthas, I don't have any more material desires, immediately you get caught by the snare of Maya, and you'll get attracted again to perform sinful activity. This is amazing. This is how mysterious is this. It's like Krishna, through his agent, Durga Mata, always testing us. The material energy is always testing us. She really wanted to be convinced that not as long as you are 100% only wanted to please Krishna, please his senses, Rishikesh, you'll not be able to get out of this material world. It's not possible. It's not possible. So we must always be very, very careful. There is a saying in English: you give an inch, Maya. You give an inch to Maya, Maya will take a mile from you. You think, oh, we cannot really play around this. It's amazing. That's why Prabhupada says that this spiritual life is like a razor's edge. A razor's edge. We shave, we use, for the men, we shave, and a little bit of an attentiveness, you'll get a little bit of cut here. So similarly, if we somehow or other though dovetail all of these propensities to enjoy materially, transfer them to Krishna, then we can be rest assured that we are in the safe position. Here, Arjuna not wanting to fight is lust, because he wants to fulfill his senses. He doesn't want to please Krishna. He just say, I'm not going to fight, I'm just going to go to the forest. That's what he called lust. Anything that does have nothing to do to please Krishna is lust. That's what it's called. So lust or kama and prema. Kama, lust. That's the meaning of, in Sanskrit. Kama means lust. But also we've heard that the gopis of Vrindavan, they're also lusty about Krishna. But their lusty towards Krishna is not material lust, because their lust for Krishna is to please Krishna, not to enjoy Krishna. To please Krishna, to give Krishna pleasure. So, lust again, two ways. In the material world, lust means I don't want to please Krishna, I only want to please myself. Or extended wise, I want to please my family. Then that is also lust. If I want only to please, okay, I'll sacrifice everything, but for my family, then that is also lust. Then one has to suffer also like that. But for the gopis, they never think for themselves. In the middle of the night, they will run. They don't even care whether, what they're wearing or whatever. Because they just want to please Krishna. So we just have to transfer that loving material energy to loving Krishna, or anything that has a relationship with Krishna. So in this way, just like even Hanuman also, he also used, Prabhupada gave that example here, isn't it? Hanuman's wrath. A great servitor of Lord Ram exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord. And Arjuna also, later on, he became convinced by Krishna's explanation of this Bhagavad-Gita within half an hour, as Prabhupada mentions in one of the lectures. He became convinced that his lust was transformed into love, just to please his friend Krishna. So we should be like this also. Just always keep reminding of ourselves. Wake up from the slumber. We've been sleeping in the lap of which called Maya since time immemorial. But sometimes, yes, we're so enthusiastic, but sometimes we slipped a little bit because of this still, what do you call this, remaining anarthas within our hearts. But if we keep doing the process of bhakti, especially hearing and chanting the holy name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, and Prabhupada says, if we engage in deity worship, then lust can be uprooted from our heart. Because we instead of serving our senses or our family members, if we serve that beautiful form of the Supreme Lord, meditate on how to decorate Him, meditate on how to prepare nice offerings, meditate on how to dress Him, then we're actually giving pleasure to the Supreme Lord. Then the lust within our hearts is being uprooted and being washed away. This is what Prabhupada says. When one of the devotees asking that, he has so much lust in his heart, I want to get married. And Prabhupada says, no. Don't think that by getting married, the lust will go away. Don't think that the woman is like a machine, sexual machine, that to fulfill your sexual appetite, that lust will go away. No, it is not. It is not. It's just like, again, it's like a fire, putting more and more petrol. It's not possible. But if you start deity worship, this was in the beginning, this was in 1967, then this Mr. Lust will not be able to do anything because Krishna is more powerful. He was calling Lust as Mr. Lust. Yes. So, yes, deity worship especially for the Grihastas, because somehow or other they have restricted license for sense enjoyment, but then it become unrestricted later on. They forgot the main core, because they say, oh, we're grihastas, so we have a little bit of license. But then that license has become overused. You cannot overuse your license. Your license means restricted also. It's like driving. To have a driver's license means you also have restrictions. That doesn't mean you can drive in any direction you like, or of course in India they do that. You know, they drive in the opposite. That doesn't mean you can drive with your eyes closed or nighttime without headlights. No, you still have to follow the rules. Of course, in the West, we follow it very strictly. So that's what it means. The Grihastas is mentioned, says that they should specifically do deity worship of the Supreme Lord to get rid of these material desires ultimately, and have Krishna as the center of their life. So there is no other way to get rid of this greatest enemy within our hearts. The only possible way, the only way, there is no other way. The only way is to become Krishna conscious. To become Krishna conscious. So we're very fortunate that somehow we are in this process. We just have to be very diligent and always still be watchful. Always be watchful, because lust comes in different ways. Money, attraction, or greediness for money, that is lust. Attraction towards the opposite sex, man to woman, woman to man, that is lust. And especially the attraction to have a very high position, prestige. That is the most difficult to give up. Just like sannyasis, they can give up gold and women, but some sannyasis, they don't want to give up their position. They're being considered as, or to have others think that they're very advanced or very, very prominent. That is very difficult, even for some sannyasis, to give up that prestige. No one wants to give up. And the main reason why we're still in this material world is because we are still have lust in our hearts. When this lust is washed away and transformed into love, then we may be in the material world, but we don't consider it as the material world. It is considered as a spiritual. Okay, we stop here. Is there any question or comments? We have a second microphone. That would be so that they can hear. Is there a second microphone there, Prabhu? Be sure it's working. Is there any question?
Thank you very much for that, for the nice class. The question is, the sitting place of last is in the mind.
Yes.
So, and now it is very difficult to control the mind, and Arjuna has also said. So Arjuna also has told to Krishna that to control mind is very difficult.
Yes.
For we common people, how daily we can practice? What is the strategic process that we can follow, particularly for yourselves?
Well, the mind cannot be vacant at any time. Mind is always thinking of something, has to think of something. So instead of thinking of material enjoyment, you think of Krishna. Engage the mind in hearing and chanting. Engage the mind in making plans how to serve others. Just have always the mind in connection with Krishna, that has anything to do with Krishna. Even to steal, just like this thief, his mind is always thinking, how can I steal Krishna's jewelries, right? I mean, because he's always thinking of Krishna, ultimately, he forget when he saw Krishna's beauty. No, forget it. I don't want any more of this. So that is the problem, though. We should be always thinking of Krishna all the time. But sometimes we think that thinking of other than Krishna is also going to be helpful for me to become Krishna conscious. It's not possible. Or we are afraid that if I always think of Krishna, I may go crazy. or there must be something else besides thinking of Krishna. Why always think of Krishna? Let me think of Maya sometimes. But that is the problem. As I said, you give Maya 1 inch, then Maya will take, 1 mile. Never let the mind be in the mode of ignorance. The mind should be always in the mode of goodness. Right now, we're in a mode of passion and ignorance. Okay? So we have to, Prabhupada says, at least be in the mode of goodness. By being engaged in practical seva, by being engaged in practical devotional service, just like by coming to the morning program, chanting our rounds, that helps our mind to become strong. Finish our rounds, prescribed rounds. Don't think, today I miss I'm not able to finish my rounds. I have 2 left, so maybe tomorrow I'll finish. I'll chant 2 more rounds, but then the next day is the same thing. You miss 3 rounds, then it just piled up. Then it's not, how are you going to get out of that hole? 16 rounds is minimum. 16 rounds is minimum. See, if you are always planning, the mind is always planning how to help others to become Krishna conscious, there is no other way that you will also become Krishna conscious. If you're always thinking how to help others, making plans how to serve devotees, just making plans how to serve the Vaisnavas, Guru, the deities, you're already saved. But as soon as you start making plans how to enjoy, then Maya is gonna get you. It's practical like that. But for those who have families, then you have to be very careful also not to give them sense enjoyment. Because you're thinking, you may be thinking that, oh, I'm giving them, I want to make them happy, so that they'll become Krishna conscious, right? Mother Parvati, hold on. She must have a question. Haribo?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So, on your last point, we not only want to think of thinking of Krishna ourselves, but also of how to help other people become Krishna conscious. And we are so fortunate that in Vrindavan we have thousands of people coming in all day long. And many of them leave the temple and nobody even says Hare Krishna to them.
Yes.
So if we had a nice attitude that these people have come all the way to Vrindavan and they ended up in our temple, and we at least made them feel like we're friendly.
Yes.
Then they would also feel, oh, these are nice people.
Right.
We should do what they do too.
Sure.
And that would be very nice to preach on a simple level.
Yeah.
And on a friendly level.
We're having a new department here. Well, it's not a new department, but we wanted to develop that department, devotee care. We just don't want to think of how to help others, but we want to help also to devotees. If we think like that also, how to take care of our devotees, then our mind also is. But you're right. Yes. And that'll be part of our program also. It's like to have like a table somewhere where we meet people and ask them if there's anything we can help.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. That's very good.
All right. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Did you hear her? Did you hear a little bit what she said? Huh? Well, she was just saying that my point is that if we always think also of how to help others to become Krishna conscious, and here in Vrindavan there are like hundreds and thousands of people come every month. There is at least 50,000 people coming here during the Kartik, average every day, and if we greet them and saying Hare Krishna, at least, then that will help them also. That will help them. That will help us too. Okay, so we have to defeat this Mr. Lust. it's Mr. Lust is very tricky. Very tricky. But Krishna is more tricky. So if we really transferred our enjoying propensity and lording it over towards the material energy and transfer to Krishna, then lust can be overcome. Lust can be overcome. That's the only way. Otherwise, it's not possible. That's why we have this freedom to choose either Maya or Krishna. Still depends on us. Okay? So we stop here. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Itai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.